Welcome to another episode of Mind Your Soul with your host, Farah Neuroscience, and my co host, Haidar Mental Fitness. Welcome to this episode about procrastination.
Thank you.
So, procrastination is something that we are all very much familiar with, it's something that we all do. Um, um, Sometimes it happens subconsciously. Sometimes we actually consciously choose not to do certain things because they're uncomfortable. Is this something that you can relate to?
Yeah, of course. I think pretty much everybody has some procrastination in their lives. Some certain things they procrastinate, certain things they just do right away. I think we all have our weak spots um, in terms of procrastination. So, we were talking earlier, you and I, about
Mm,
what's your weakest spot when it comes to procrastination, and I'm the exact opposite of you. For example,
we are total opposites.
yeah, we're
Yeah.
total opposites. So we were talking about if you receive, let's say, a package in your front door, and the type that you are, you just like to throw it away and maybe just open it up next week or next week again.
Yeah, that
Where
sounds like me.
and where am I at the exact opposite? I just can't wait to receive my package because I'm like a little child who likes to open and see what is inside, even though I know what is inside because I'm the one who
Mm,
ordered it. But
same.
I think you get the point.
Yeah.
So I think certain people have their weak spots when it comes to procrastinating, and I think it falls down deep to a pattern. It comes maybe from their past, something they have experienced before, and it led to a point in their life today where where you can see the pattern and why they do procrastinate those things.
Mm. Yeah, I
So
think procrastination is very much related with the fact that some things or the way you have been raised in your childhood, sometimes it comes to the surface. For me, packages is like another thing for me to do. I can easily feel overwhelmed with tasks on my daily basis. And as a single mother, I have lots of things going on 24/7. I love what I do. Every day I wake up happy and I love everything that I'm doing. I'm very passionate about it. But receiving a package is like, oh God, another thing that I have to relate to. I have to open it. I have to put the things in the places they're supposed to be. And I like order. Like my home is always clean. So you can call it a bit perfectionist. I like things a certain way to be placed. Like the books should be in one place and the jackets to hang in a certain way. So receiving a package just brings the chaos in me. Like it's right in front of me because then I have to relate to this package and the things and put them in their spots. And sometimes it feels overwhelming to me.
mm,
Which is it's just a package. And when I talk to people like you and my friends, they're like, what's wrong with you? It's just a package, just do it. But for me, it's like more than that. It takes a lot to actually open it. Yeah, I don't know if you guys can relate out there. But what are your soft spots, or what are the things that you procrastinate? Um, but for me, it's not something rewarding opening a package, and often we delay things which are painful because the brain likes to get instant gratification or a dopamine shot. Something rewarding is always nice to open up, but for me, packages is not rewarding. I don't get that instant gratification out of it. For me, it's like more tasks to do, even though I order the things that I need in the package. Does that make sense?
I think from what it sounds like, you create too much friction between you and your packages.
Yes.
So bef- before you can get to the reward of what is inside the package, you have already thought about all the steps you need to do before you open that package. You need to open it up. You need to make sure that it got its own space. Make sure you know where to put it. And
Yes.
you just remove all the rewards, all the enjoyment of that package, because the only thing you think about is what are you going to do with it after you open it up. And that creates so much stress, so much friction, that it just get procrastinated, because you just can't spend more time on it because you have so many other things to do in your
That
daily
is so
life.
true.
So I think your main problem with this is exactly that you create too much friction between you and the package. So
Yeah.
let's make an example. From what I do, I tell people how to stop snacking, for example. And one of the main tips that I give many lifestyle people is, if you want to stop snacking and you just can't get rid from the drawer and open it up and eat a bag of chips or whatever, I tell them, try to create so much friction between you and the bag of chips, because as soon as you do that, it gets so overwhelming to get to that bag of chips that you're just gonna drop it,
Mm.
and you're just gonna give up and stop trying to reach that bag of chips, and you're just gonna turn around and walk back to your couch without any bag of chips. So that friction created in the process makes you don't want to open that package.
That makes
I think
sense. I never
I
thought about it like that, actually.
mm,
That so
mm.
makes sense. Mm.
You create too many steps, you create too much friction in between, and that's why you remove all the enjoyment, all the reward you get from opening a package, because you make it so complicated
Yeah, I
for
make
you.
it, I've already decided in my mind,
Mm.
and that's what I tell people, that you can actually shift your thought patterns. You can do cognitive reframing, all the things. But when it comes to packages, I forget all the things that I teach people myself, because it's what I create inside my mind, and that is what it believes. So yeah, I create a lot of friction, as you say. I make the task very difficult, and it's actually not that difficult. I overthink it. um,
That's what that's what
I've already decided that is very difficult task, and when it's not actually. Yeah, sorry.
No, no, it's just that's why you have a quote saying like, just keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate things. Don't create too much friction. Create friction on some habits you want to eliminate, but don't
Mm,
create friction on something that is necessary for you to maybe do right away, um, instead of just procrastinating and just leave it open for several weeks ahead. Maybe it's important for you to open that package and see what is inside. Maybe you ordered something that you just need right now, so you're only creating your own, what do you call it, you're only delaying your own success, you can call it that.
I agree, actually. I
We
do open
also
the packages
we
faster if it's something that I need right now, but if it's
like
not, it could just lay there for 2 weeks.
exactly, because you and I spoke about, we need to upgrade this podcast, we need to have you invest in a new webcam for our
Mm.
quality of
And I did
picture.
buy it. I was
And
very
you
fast in buying it.
you was very fast at buying it, purchasing it, and move it on. But as soon as you got the package, how long did it take you before you opened it? if i
I
if
think
i
three
didn't keep
weeks.
pushing if I didn't keep pushing.
I think 3 weeks, maybe.
Exactly.
2 to 3 weeks. Yeah. Now I've
And
opened it.
as
I've tested it once, and because it
Mhm.
failed, I've just put it back in the package. And now I have to take it again. you know.
Mm.
Mm.
Of course, and tried it once again, because I ordered the same webcam. And how long
Mm.
did it take me for to open the
I think
package?
you open it the same day.
Same day. Same day,
Mm.
exactly, because it was like candy coming in at the front door. I just want to see
Mm.
and try it out and see how it works, and now it works perfectly fine after after removing the cable that followed along and replace it with another one that is much more quality, and now it works perfectly. But you still need yours.
Yep. Next time, you guys, better quality.
Hope so.
Yes. Now I said it out loud. I'm gonna do it. So I will
We're gonna
diminish the friction between me and the webcam package.
Just don't
Yeah.
make it complicated. It's a
Mm.
simple task, you know. Things that are complicated for you, I think you see it as a simple task, but things that are simple tasks, you make it too much complicated. It's so different because
Yeah,
we're all different.
it's
We all
kind of funny that starting like a new project, doing big things I've never tried before, I just do it. That's the funny thing, and this is what I preach a lot on my profile, and we talked about this a lot in our Danish podcast, and we talk about this in this podcast as well, that you need to take risk. Like those things I can just do it. I don't know why, then it's not a problem, but doing simple things is very hard for me. It's so weird.
Hmm.
I'm like opposite person. So yeah,
That's the beauty of humanity. We all different in our ways.
I totally agree. So tell me, what do you procrastinate? Now we talked about my procrastination. What's your procrastination? What's your friction?
Um, I have a few. I think I think it's like you simple tasks, but something you just don't want to get your eyes on because you don't want to feel some sort of, what do you call it? I try my very best every day to avoid negative energy. So
Hmm.
looking at things that are necessary for me and my business and my company can often relate to me having some negative energy pushing right at me because it's necessary for my business to grow. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I don't like to look at numbers, certain numbers. When it comes to the business side, I try to avoid it as much as I can, but sometimes I just have to face the fact that I need to be looking in this in order for me to grow even further. So that is a thing when it comes to certain numbers, clientele, clients that are about to end their subscriptions and things like that. I just don't like looking at it too often. Uh, but I've managed the couple of months, the latest month, to push myself to look at it and try to look at it as a positive thing because it's that is the main thing. That is a normal thing for you to have in your business. You have certain clients stop, you have some clients onboarding, there are new clients. So it's a normal thing. I just try to normalize that thing and try not to let it control me, try not to um, make me feel negative in a certain way. So
Mm.
that could be one of my things that I often procrastinate to not look too much into.
But that's because it's painful, right? It's
It's
not like
painful. It's painful.
you don't
It
get a reward
provides.
out of it. Like, yeah.
It doesn't have any cues, any rewards. It only have
Mm,
some. Either way, either you're gonna feel some negative thoughts, or you have some negative energy pushing right at you, or you're gonna feel less
mm,
disappointed because the numbers are actually low, and it's a positive thing. But there is not a third level of reward.
mm.
The only level of reward is if that number is zero, and it's never zero, you know. So that could be one of my weak spots. And other weak spots I have, maybe just a simple task, and fixing things with my car, for example.
Mm,
I have a car that is expiring the leasing contract at the end of July.
mm,
And I have a task of now I have to find a new car
mm,
and purchase a new contract and make sure that we have a car by the end of the July, because the one I have right now is gonna be gone.
mm,
And I need to make sure that we have a car for August and September and so on, so on.
mm, mm.
We have another one we can use in the middle time, but we need that big car because the one I have right now is just
But
spare
that's
car.
like a
And
big decision, and big decisions take longer, and it's something that needs more time to consider, obviously.
yeah, of course. And I tend to procrastinate that thing until the very last month.
Oh, okay.
So what I did with my contract, I actually just started looking at new cars in the beginning of July, and I
Mm,
managed to make sure that my car is going to be sold and moved on after the contract ends. I made sure that I'm not going to be the one who buys it back. I've talked
Mm.
to I've talked to my old the office I used to work at. Um, I paid him a visit last week and asked him if they could buy the car back and benefits from it. I don't want any profit of it. Just buy it back and sell it, and I'm gonna be free of the contract of the risk payment of the car. So
Okay.
I did manage to do all that in the first week of July. So right now I'm trying to decide what is the next car for us, for my family.
Hmm.
And by the end of yesterday, I was looking at one there is available. I was out trying it and drives very good. It's a Volvo XC60 SUV.
That's really a
Um,
family car.
it's a very family car, and it's an SUV, you know. So
Mm.
I was thinking about getting the same one that I just getting rid of, just a newer model,
Mm.
and younger
Because
model,
you're
and newer.
comfortable with that. Because you're
I'm
actually
comf-
comfortable with that car, and now it's an upgrade. So you will feel safe in that car. I'm
yeah,
presuming.
exactly, because
Mm.
I've been driving the same car for the last 3 years.
Mm.
So for me to just upgrade to a newer model, it will be
That makes
comfort.
sense.
But at the same time, I also like to try out an SUV. I've never owned
Mm.
an SUV before.
Mm.
So I'm like between, should I pick the SUV or should I just go for the upgraded version of my current car?
Mm.
So that is also one thing that I tend to procrastinate and wait until the very last minute. But in spite of that, I've actually managed to fix the most important thing with the contracts and how who's gonna buy it back, who's gonna sell it, and actually right now it's just about finding the new one, and it's the fun part. So for me, that
Yeah, so you
part
actually
does
done all the hard things, you
the
know.
painful things.
The painful things has been diminished. Now you're like in the fun part. This is the reward thing now.
And it's the painful things that you tend to procrastinate. The fun part
Yes.
begins
Yes.
right now, and I don't feel like
Hmm.
procrastinating. I'm feeling like I want to see new cars every day and try out new cars so I can see which one I'm gonna drive by the end of July and
That's
by
the
the
fun
beginning of.
period. Yeah.
That's the fun
So
period right now. Yeah. So the
yes, procrastination
procrastinating
is associated with pain. Like we
with pain.
procrastinate because we find it painful. But then
Mm,
there's the reward after completing the task. Then it feels good, right?
mm.
So, how can we
Now the fun
diminish
part
the
begins.
procrastination? How can we get faster to the reward? How can we like act faster and upgrade our lives with not to procrastinate that much? There are ways to
I,
do that.
I think I think just remove the friction. Just you have you have to face it.
But the thing you
That's
just said, if I could explain further with the car, that was a very good example. So you have multiple steps. What you can do, I teach this. I know I tend to do it myself, but I'm saying it out loud because that helps actually. Um, the thing with the car is a very good example for all of those who are listening. You had some things to do. Some of them were painful. There were some kind of deadlines. You could call it that. Now you're in the fun part. Okay. So in order to get there, to diminish the friction and all of that, what you did is that you had multiple tasks. So what you did is that you divided them into smaller tasks. So you said, once I visit the car sheep owner, I know what my options are. Number one was done. Number two, I have two options. I can either upgrade or I can try some new things. You know, all the deadlines or whatever it was, you were able to do that, complete them. So when you take the task and divide it into smaller tasks and do one step at a time, then you're actually getting closer to the reward. And in that way, you can actually diminish the procrastination by dividing the task into smaller tasks. Does that make sense?
actually it is. It does make sense because
Yeah,
I felt the tasks are not that overwhelming as it feels like. Because
exactly.
the only thing I had to do is actually just ask my old offers if they can buy the car back
See?
by the end of the contract. And that question took me 10, 11 months to actually
Oh,
just
wow. Okay.
to actually just drive over there, pay them a visit, drink a cup of coffee, say hello
Okay.
to
Sounds
everybody
nice.
of my
Yeah.
old colleagues, and just ask the boss, hey, this car I bought from here 3 years ago, is it possible for you to buy it back? Because I can see there is still profit in the car, so you will benefit, and I don't have to buy it back and sell
Mm.
it to you for you in order for you to profit the car. Why can't you just buy it back directly from the leasing company? They said, and he replied, yeah, it's no problem. So it took me 11 months to ask that question, the question, and the answer was, yeah, there's no problem. So now I removed the painful task that took me
Mm.
so much time to prepare myself to ask that simple question. But the reward, the fun part, just begins right after. So
Mm.
I spent 11 months thinking about. I know by the end of July I have to get rid of this car. So
You are worse
actually,
than me, actually.
with this task, with this type of task, yes, you're totally right. But the thing I've done for the past 11 months, this is actually a fun story. um I knew deep down inside that they're gonna buy the car back because they can benefit from it. I know that.
So
Okay.
that's why you procrastinated to the last
I
deadline?
knew it. I knew it deep down inside, but I just felt I don't want to ask the question because I don't want to get a no for an answer. So
But you already knew they would say yes. So why were you
I
thinking
already
they
knew
would
they
say
would say
no?
yes, but I prepared myself for the last 11 months. If they're gonna say no,
Hmm.
what am I gonna do? I'm gonna buy the car back. So what I did the last 11 months, actually saved up enough money to buy it back.
Okay, well, now that makes sense. Now it
Yeah,
makes more sense that you procrastinated it for 11 months because you were having a backup plan. You were working on your backup solution. But
exactly. So
again, okay, so you really come prepared and overthink more than I do, actually.
yeah, so when I got to the point when I asked the question, I was prepared for a no for an answer because I can afford to buy it back by myself and sell it,
Mm-hmm.
and get all my money back and the profit.
Mm.
Um, but they said, yes, no problem. We're gonna buy it back. We're gonna sell it, and we take all the profit. Yeah, just take all the profit. Just buy the car back. I don't want to buy it.
Mm.
So now the
Now you have
hard
extra
task,
money. Hey.
the extra saving, exactly.
Mm. You can always use extra savings. So, yeah.
Exactly. So right now I'm in the middle of deciding which car is gonna be our next car. So
It
that
sounds
is
like
the fun
fun.
part, I
I
think.
love
Yeah,
trying new cars, actually.
and also a little stressful because you're gonna have to decide
But you will,
eventually.
though. You still have time. We're still in July, and you will have time,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
unless
still have my
unless
car
it's
until the end
yeah.
of July, so I'm just
Okay.
gonna have to see which one is gonna be the next one. Is it the upgraded version, or are we gonna go with the Volvo, the SUV one, to
Mm.
try new things for another year? And maybe next year, if I don't like the SUV, I'm just gonna switch back to my old version.
That's how easy it is when you lease the car. Like it's very
Yeah, yeah.
easy and doable. Yeah.
Exactly, and I'm so thankful that I have my old offers who can provide me with with some favors. I know
Absolutely.
not a lot of people can go to their old um, car office where they used to work and ask for such favors, you know. But I
Hmm.
know the owners very well. I've been there for 7 years, and we are on good terms and everything. So it is easy for me to go and benefit from them, and they can help me out. They actually help me out a lot by just
Well,
saying,
that's so
yes, yes,
nice.
we're gonna buy it back. You don't have to worry about it. Just make them send the invoice to us, and we're gonna buy it back. No problem, no issue.
That's so nice.
It is
So, you
nice.
guys, we shared some stories with you how we procrastinate. But as you all know, this podcast is always about the brain perspective, mental health, how you can increase your daily life and live a happier you. So, what happens with procrastination in the brain? There are some things that happen. Is the instant gratification bias. We have a tendency to seek immediate rewards. We like that. We all know this. This is why social media is invented, I think, with the likes and stuff like that. We like the dopamine kick we get. And we are living in a society where this happens a lot. Like we post something and we're waiting for to see how many likes do I get. This is something we're just wired to do now, and it's not always a positive thing. Then we procrastinate because something has to do with fear and anxiety. What if they say no? Just like the story Haider shared. And what happens, like I create a lot of friction just opening the package. I put blockages in front of me instead of just doing it, because I think in my head, this is too overwhelming. Like I can't even like think about it. And then there's the whole perfectionism and self efficiency also involved with it, which could come from our childhood traumas, which we haven't yet processed consciously. Like I said, I like to put things in a certain way. I'm not OCD like some people are, which is nothing wrong with that though. But I'm not. But I just like a clean home. I tend to be a perfectionist. I often feel like I'm not good enough. I have to work hard. And I know you're the same, Haider. Like we work really hard to do the best. And sometimes we are the the worst critic ourselves, you know? Um, so how can we work with these things? What you just said is like you were actually making a plan B for the car. So this is how you handle things. For certain things, you just do it. Like, how can we overcome these obstacles and stop procrastinating? Like taking the task into smaller tasks is a good way of doing it. Having a reward afterwards, maybe after you completed the procrastination task, you can treat yourself to a reward. If it's not rewarding, like looking at bad numbers is not rewarding, but maybe you can say, I'm trying my best. You can talk with compassion to yourself. I'm trying my best, and I will treat myself to take the day off or whatever. What's your saying on that, Heather? Like, what can you suggest out there so people can s- like we will still do procrastination but just diminish it? And hi to your son, I can hear him.
It's his nap time in 15 minutes, so right now he's energized.
Okay,
Um,
fair enough.
all right, so you're asking about what are my take on which what is the
Yeah,
question
I
exactly?
said I said a lot of things like we create friction, we can diminish friction. You mentioned that. I really like that. And
Mm,
you can take the whole task because it feels overwhelming and then cut it into smaller tasks. And I just said some tasks, some procrastinate. Why we procrastinate is because it's painful for us. It's not
mm.
rewarding right now. It might be later on, like with your car story. So how, like, what would you suggest out there? How can we diminish the procrastination and reward ourselves? Because some things will be painful, and this is part of life. Do you have any suggestions other than we just discussed before we end this episode?
I think I think you have to think about your vision for where you want to go.
Mm-hmm.
It all depends on what is the task. So is it a harmful task? Is it a normal task like the task with the car example? But for example, if you need to do certain things in order for you to move ahead in life, and personal growth and all that kind of stuff, you have to do certain things every day. And if you
Mm-hmm.
procrastinate it, then your vision is gonna fade a little bit away. Is gonna
That
extend
is true.
furthermore. Is gonna
Mm-hmm.
extend furthermore because now you now you need to have to make up for for this day tomorrow, and tomorrow's task is gonna be pushed the day after tomorrow. So
Mm-hmm.
you have to have the vision of where you want to go. You have
100%.
to you have to have a cue. The
I
cue
like
is
that.
if yeah, the cue is if I do certain things every day, um what is my reward right after? And you have to focus on that reward by itself and not the task, the steps in between, the friction
Mm.
that we used to call them. And you just have to focus your energy on the reward side and the cue side. So if I
Mm.
do this, I get this out of it.
Mm.
That is one thing, one way to put it. There's a a whole another world of many ways, many methods you can use to not procrastinate. You can, for example, if you have, again, if you have some tasks that you have to do in a certain way every day to get ahead in
Mm-hmm.
life, but they are so overwhelming doing day
Mm-hmm.
in day out, being consistent
Mm-hmm.
with, you can
Mm-hmm.
combine them, combine them with tasks that you already have to do every day. So we all know you have to brush your teeth every day.
True. It's a habit and we just do it automatically. It's an incorporated habit in our routine. It is so true. It's all about habits, actually. Yeah.
Exactly. So all the things that you have to do on a daily basis, you just
Mm-hmm.
automatically do it. You can
Mm-hmm.
combine some of those tasks that you need to do every day to get ahead in your life, combine them with something you just have to do. So let me give you an example. I have a treadmill in my office.
Mm-hmm.
My goal on my trading days, which is 5 times in a week, I need to get on this treadmill 5 times a week and do an hour of cardio. This
Wow,
is
one
my
hour? I do
one.
30 minutes.
I do 1 hour because this is my
But he's a
because
professional, you guys, because yeah, he has another story than me. I'm just normal. So,
also right now I'm trying to shed off some fat. I'm trying to get lower body fat percentage. So I bump it up to 1 hour. Maybe I do 45
impressive.
minutes in a normal off season, but right now I'm trying to get lower body fat. So I do 1 hour every morning. So
Okay.
it's it's not an attractive task to do every day.
No.
But the cue here is to make it attractive. And
Mm-hmm.
how do I make this walking on a treadmill every morning for 1 hour? How do I make this into an attractive
Yeah,
task?
how do you? I want to know.
I'm going to tell you. So, what I do, I can do two things. I can combine the treadmill with something that I have to do, and that
Mm-hmm.
could be answering clients on my phone.
Oh, okay.
It will take me about 1 hour to answer all the clients.
Mm-hmm.
I can also combine it with something more entertaining than work.
Mm-hmm.
So the
Mm-hmm.
work I have to do every day, I can combine it with answering clients, and then just the time flows away.
Mm.
I can also combine it with watching some podcast on my on YouTube or
Mm.
listening to a podcast. I can watch some cartoon. I like to watch some anime. I like Dragon Ball,
Okay, so what
Yu-Gi-Oh
you're
stuff.
saying, the cue is that you need to do it, but then you reward yourself, then it makes it attractive. So making, if you want something to stick, you have to make it attractive and you had to make it visual. And it's actually in your office. So it makes it very accessible, also making accessible. We're both reading Atomic Habits, both of us, and we did not plan this. It just happened. So it's kind of
Mm.
funny, actually. And we almost finished with the book. Yes, I don't, you do this every time. I never have mine. We're almost done with it and we both bought it and we did not talk about it. It just happened.
Mm.
So it's kind of funny and it's so true. And what he says, James, in the book is that you have to make it visual. It has to be like in front of you so you don't can pack it away. If you pack it away, you have to take it out and that makes a difficult task. So
Mm.
it's right there. It's accessible. Number one. Number two is visual. Number three, you reward yourself afterwards and you look forward to that reward. So
I think I need to. I think the reward comes. It doesn't come right away. It comes when you repeat it day after day, day after day.
yeah, it has to
Uh,
be
s-
incorporated habit, of course.
yeah. So
Yeah.
so in order for me to see the rewards of my 1 hour walking of treadmill, is gonna be visual in a couple of weeks from now. If I
Mhm,
repeat this every day, then I'm gonna see some results on my body because right now
mhm,
my goal is to shed body fat.
mm.
So that is my reward, but is not gonna come the same day. So I still it's exactly true what you're telling. It's visible. It's easy to get on the
Mhm,
treadmill because it's right here in the office, but it's still overwhelming for me to do as a task. So what I do is I make this an attractive task to repeat every day by, for example, right now, I just go on YouTube and watch some anime while doing
mm,
it. And when I watch an episode of anime, it's typically 20 minutes. So I
mm,
just I just watch 3 episodes while I'm on the treadmill And after
Mm.
3 episodes, the 1 hour has passed.
So
And
you
I
don't
don't
actually you don't sense that it's been 1 hour already because you're doing something you enjoy at the same time.
exactly. I combined it with
Mm.
something I have to repeat every day in
Mm.
order
That
for
makes
me
sense.
to in order for me to get my reward in a couple of weeks. I have to repeat 1 hour 5 times a week on this treadmill, combined with some weight training later on that day,
Mm.
and complete my 14,000 steps plus a weight training session in order for me to get the results I want in a couple of weeks. So we start out with the 1 hour treadmill. The weight training is not a problem because I love to weight train. So
That's the
that
opposite
is
problem for me. For me, running is rewarding in itself. Like I get the
mm,
kick out of it, stress. But for me, doing weight training, that's the hard part. I
mm.
have it opposite. Yeah.
No, actually, that's for me the fun part. I like the pumps. Like the
Oh
energy. I
yeah.
like
But
listen
I
to
like
music.
how I feel afterwards. I love the
Mm.
feeling afterwards, but I prefer running every day in and day out. I could do it for a long
The
time.
f- the feeling post the cardio and post weight training is the same for me. I get this good feeling that I've completed a tasks. But again, combine it with something that you enjoy, something that is rewardable, that is something that fills you up with dopamine right away. And that could be watch some anime if you're an anime type, or you
Mm,
listen to a podcast. Just entertain yourself, make it attractive for you to complete the task that is feel overwhelmed and you don't feel like doing it. And there's the disciplined way to do it. Everything that you don't feel like to do, you have to do it anyway, because that is the discipline that kicks in. We can
and
talk
that's how
about
you grow.
discipline. We can
Yeah,
talk about discipline any other day, but right now, if you don't have any self-discipline, this is the way to do it. Make it
I agree.
attractive, make
Mm,
it obvious, make it combine it with something you have to do every day in order for you to to not procrastinate that thing, because
mm-hmm,
you need to repeat the same habit every day in order for you to grow as a human,
mm,
depending on what your goal are. Right now my goal is shed some body fat. I have to do 1 hour of cardio every day. Is not attractive, but when I combine it with some YouTube anime,
it
it
gets
gets
attractive. Yeah,
attractive.
that makes
And I
sense.
think I think that is the best way to not procrastinate any habits, because it works. It actually
Okay, I will
works.
try that next time opening a package. I actually have one in my car. I didn't even take it from my car to my house because, yeah. This is how
Combine
bad
it.
it is with packages for me. I will combine it with a good podcast. I think that is a good idea. Then I'll just
You
do
can
it and yeah,
do an unpacking package in the middle of shooting a podcast. Maybe that is
and
you.
see
That
how it
is you.
feels.
Yeah,
Yes.
that is you combining it with something you have to do, and that is record a podcast, a session.
That is true.
You
We
know.
could actually,
Mm,
I could actually do that. That sounds like fun. But I think we covered lots of parts of procrastination.
mm.
So you guys, please do leave a comment. Please follow both of us. You can see our names because this is a new podcast channel, and we just want to highlight the importance of you can shift your thoughts and you can have a happier life if you just get the tools to do it. So thank you so much for joining us today, Haider. It was a pleasure as always.
Always a
And yeah,
pleasure.
it really was. So thank you
Mm.
guys. Yeah, that was it. Bye.
Bye bye.